Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. I hope you had a great weekend. Well, the lid is off now. Campaigning, can officially start for those who are interested in those kind of things. Not that we have any campaigning to do today, but it is good to know that that's the date. It's like people can now go there and see what they want to say and leave the people to evaluate what it is. However, we have some ongoing business that we thought we'd highlight. It's over in Ondo State. And there's something called a development summit. A development summit is coming up in Ondo on 2 days this week, Wednesday and Thursday. And today it's a privilege to have a couple of commissioners from Ondo State to tell us all about it. First, we've got Mr. Emmanuel Igbason, who is the Commissioner for Economic Planning and Budget. It's good to have you.
Thank you, sir. Good morning.
Thank you very much for coming on. Yes. And also Mr. Femi Agagu, Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology. Thank you very much too.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's our pleasure to have you.
Good morning, our viewers too.
Indeed. And by the way, both gentlemen just happen to be pastors. I call them Mr., but both of them are pastors. I wonder, are there any imams in the cabinet as well?
Two.
We have about two or three.
You have 2 or 3 imams?
Who are actually imams.
Who are actually imams. And then how many are pastors?
I know 2 of us.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Thank you very much for coming on. Now, the Development Partners Summit. What is that? Because is it what it sounds like? Is it people who can help develop Ondo that are now coming in? What is the Development Partners Summit? Maybe I should ask the Commissioner for Economic Planning and Budget.
Thank you, sir. Development Partners Summit actually is to bring together our development partners who have been assisting Ondo State to achieve a global SDGs, so to say, and to see how we can position Ondo State for global relevance.
Okay.
Now we have some surveys that have shown some yearning gaps in terms of school enrollment, in terms of female genital mutilation, in terms of out-of-school children, and the resources available to the government alone cannot solve this myriad of problems. We need to beacon to all our development partners to synergize to ensure that Ondo State is able to provide that minimum level of quality of life and the services that is required at this time.
Okay. Turning to you, Mr. Agagu, is government having a problem coming across on delivering on those things that people expect government to do? I mean, I'm just wondering if this happens to be slow. It won't be slow. I know you guys are planning it. But look, even if these people can't come across, is it that government is unable, in the absence of partners, to actually deliver on some of those key things?
Well, I don't know if you want me to talk about education or development in general.
Well, you could take it from education.
Okay, let me take it from
because it would probably refer to other things as well. Okay. Because the question is whether government is up to the task without partners.
Well, the agenda of the Akeredolu administration in education is how to reposition the sector for entrepreneurship and technology growth.
Oh, and that is the education sector?
Yes.
Okay.
And we have our plans set. We also know that for that to happen, there must be an upgrade in the infrastructure that is in the sector. We need to be able to create a very conducive learning environment. Okay. That will mean renovating all the schools. That will mean providing laboratories properly so fitted, physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics, computer. We must have libraries that are well stocked and that are up to date. And also in the process, we also looked at the curriculum content That also we have, so that there can be enough there to equip our products for life after education. That is, they must have enough skills, if it of vocational skills. They must learn enough trade even as they carry on their education, so that by the time they leave school, if there's no government employment, they'll be able to take care of themselves. We need to upgrade, the welfare of teachers and also workers in the education sector. We need, to whom much is given, much should also be expected. We must have a very vibrant inspectorate division that will make sure that these teachers and workers in the education sector are actually doing their work. So in doing all of this, you need money.
I see what you mean now by infrastructure.
So now if we need money, and we have also looked at the yearly allocation to the sector, which in Ondo State we have been doing very well, because education is a very important industry in Ondo State. But from our plan that we have, strategic plan and operational plan that we have on ground now, we have found out that between 2018 and 2021, no matter what government is able to give us, projected at the current rates, we will still need about 100 billion naira funding gap to cover.
Not 100 million,
100 billion. That's at the minimum. So if that is the case, we need to look elsewhere. So there had been an education endowment fund in the state, even from the military era. We were quite thoughtful of the administration there. But all that has been doing is just to concentrate on the traditional sources that they were able to put in place there, taking some percentage from contract award, some percentage from the salaries of political office holders. But this administration now feels that might not suffice. So we need to expand that sources.
Well, in terms of, just so that one could compare a bit, or maybe, I don't know, put you on the spot a bit, in terms of where we want to go, the ideal case, where we want, what the objective would be, we can understand what that is. That probably is going to be something like 8/10. But on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you say what do you say the situation is now? Is it at a 3, a 4, or a 5 that you're looking, hopefully, from the successful summit, we might be going up to 8, 8.5, 9. I don't imagine that we'll get 10, not yet.
Well, now it's a work in progress. Of course, we are renovating, we are hiring teachers, we are improving, we need to hire more teachers. Just like I said earlier, that education is a major industry in the industry. So if I want to put a figure
on a scale of 1 to 10,
I can say we'll be at 6.
Okay, okay.
So all that we need is somebody to get us to 80, 90% or thereabout.
Okay, and we're going to come back on that, because education is tremendously important. In fact, it's one of the bedrocks. Without it, very little else can be done when it comes to the whole matter of human capital development. And I imagine that's also something that's going to interest the Commissioner for Economic Planning and Budget. Development Partners 2018. What does the invitee list? Who are you hoping to attract? It's a 2-day affair. Are the partners all local? Are there some international partners?
Oh, thank you. We have both local and international partners, and interestingly, we're expecting His Excellency Professor Yemi Osinbajo to declare it open on Wednesday, and all the development partners, both foreign and local, has invited for this important summit, and we expect them to come in their numbers to partner with us to take our state to that next level that we are hoping for. Just like you said, in terms of human capital development, which spans through education, health sector, and social services. And incidentally, these are the pillars, the cardinal pillars of Arakunrin Oluwarotimi Akeredolu-led administration. When they came into office, he had these 5 cardinal points we refer to popularly as GMPPR. Number one is job creation. And it didn't stop at that. How do you create the jobs? Through agriculture, industrial development. Number two, massive infrastructural development. In other words, to empower the artisans, the traders who deal in goods and every other thing. Number three, accessible and affordable healthcare system. We have provision of functional education, just like the Honorable Commissioner for Education has said, to equip our students with relevant and functional skills that will make them creators of jobs, not seekers for jobs when they graduate. And then to be relevant in the global economy, to be competitive in the world generally. Okay. Now, apart from that, we also have to impact the rural sector, because a larger percentage of our people are rural dwellers, and we've been doing that successfully, even through Rawasa, that has received accolade nationally now.
I imagine that your state, any state for that matter, can do well in any area that it sets its mind to. But I wanted to ask you, because I'm sure you would have given the matter some thought, what would you say is Ondo's area of comparative advantage?
Yes, thank you. Incidentally, we have a comparative advantage in agriculture, because Ondo State is about the only state in Nigeria that has a climate that cuts across the north and south divide.
One moment, please. I didn't want to interrupt you, but a caller has come in. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning to the Honorable Commissioners in front of you.
Good morning, sir.
Uncle Yori, I commend the Ondo State government for this initiative to attract investors and to develop the state. It's a good idea. But I wish there was a commissioner for health among them. The previous governor, Governor Miliko, he set up one hospital. I visited the hospital. It's called Women and Child Hospital. Well equipped, and people from other neighboring states were coming there because of the specialist nature of the hospital. I want to ask the commissioner whether that hospital is still in that shape. If it is still in that shape, they should sustain, not only sustain, but upgrade it or improve on it.
All right.
There should be no politics in that thing. That governor did very well on that project. I want to ask them, what is the state of that hospital facility today?
All right,
I was there about 2.5 years ago. I don't know about it today.
Thank you very much, Mr. George. I'm sure you can rope that into what you were talking about as well.
Yes, let me quickly provide an answer to Mr. George. Thank you for that beautiful comment. The government of Arakurolu Arutimbi Akredolu SAN believes that governance is a continuum. And up to now, there is no project inherited that has been abandoned, including Modern and Child Hospital. At the inception of this administration, we had two, one located in Ondo and the other one in Akure. Now, recently, we have expanded it to 5 to cover the whole state.
Oh, that same kind of specialist hospital?
That's kind of Modern and Child Hospital.
Because
and we have also...
maybe I should be careful about using terms like specialist, but it does seem like it addresses,
Yes, essentially it was to address the gap of the child and maternal mortality rate that was low then, and it quite achieved the desired objective then.
It was unacceptably high.
So it brought it low.
Exactly.
It brought it low. But what we had then was that many people from other states, we had the influx into the state.
Which must have made you proud.
Yes, we are proud of that.
You must have put something of a run on the services, but
yes, exactly.
You're not complaining.
But the beauty of it is that the present governor said it's a beautiful project, and we should not allow it to die. Rather, we should let others be beneficiary of this laudable project. We have expanded it to 5. I think one is located in... one will be located in Oktopa now, another one in Igbokoda, another one at, I think, the Kare, to cover the 3 senatorial districts in addition to the existing ones.
Okay.
And not only that, funding and equipment has been procured abroad, which will be shifting shortly to even upgrade to that next level.
I'm sure that will reassure Mr. George that
Sure.
that laudable idea is still very much current. But you were talking about your area of comparative advantage, and you were saying that, look, it has to be agriculture, and I think at that stage.
Yes, thank you, sir. Essentially, about 60 to 65% of our population are agrarian. They are, and we are fortunate to be the only state that has our climatic conditions that cuts across the northern and the southern zone. For example, at the southern side of the state, you have the sea and the river. We have about more than 80-kilometer coastline.
Yeah.
It opens onto the sea. We have one of the deepest sea depth in the whole nation, about 18 to 25 natural depth of water that is most essentially suitable for deep sea port in the real sense of the word. Then we also have climatic conditions that allow any type of crop at all to grow in the soil of Ondo State.
Okay. So this, no doubt, and I see that. Could I just prevail on you? Give me 1 minute, please. Let me bring in Mr. Adewale, who's called in from Akure. Good morning, Mr. Adewale.
Good morning. Please, can I speak with Adeyori?
Good morning, sir. You're on air right now.
Okay.
You are on air. Did you want to speak into the program?
Yes, yes.
Please, you're on air right now.
Okay. Mr. Adewale, good morning, Uncle Adeyori.
Good morning, sir.
I'm currently watching your program, Mr. Adeyori from Ondo State. Okay. Yes, sir. Okay, I listened to the Honorable Commissioner for Education, where he said they've employed teachers. I want to put across to you that they've never employed any teachers. Even majority of teachers in those states, they've all retired. They've not employed, even throughout the tenure of Mimiko, they did not employ any teacher for 8 years. And the current, I'm sure they've started again.
Okay.
Majority of schools in those states, they lack teachers. Go to Akinas, go to Yemeku. Even go to Owatu.
Hello?
The sciences, English and mathematics. They are deceiving people on the head.
Well, I don't know about deceiving, sir. Sir, have you followed us from the top of the program? Did you hear about an education endowment fund that is going to be relaunched? And the reason why this has to be so? I don't know if you considered all those things. Hello, are you still there, sir?
Let me answer.
That line has cut. But
let me answer him.
But, it was interesting the way he put it. I don't know if he's in the field or if, as an observer, you can understand why he feels the way he feels. Because, again, if he didn't notice anything, he probably wouldn't have called in. He might not understand what he had noticed, but what would you say to what he has just said?
Well, maybe you didn't hear me right. What I was trying to build a background for why we are doing a relaunch. And I said we will need to take care of welfare of teachers, and that we even need more teachers.
Yes.
And that we are even in the process of hiring teachers.
Okay.
But you don't just, as an administration, you don't just jump out and start hiring teachers. How many teachers do you need? Where do you need them? And all of that exercise has been completed for both primary and secondary schools. I can tell you now that in the secondary school that we have found a gap of about 1,200 across the state.
That need to be employed.
Needs to be employed. And even those 1,200, we have a clear idea of which location.
Okay.
There could be surplus of teachers in Akure or in Ondo, whereas where you go to Ifon or you go to Ondo and Elaje, you might not get it. So we have been able to establish that. And we all even know the specific subjects. These teachers you need, are they physics teachers or French teachers or mathematics teachers? So we have all of that in place. But at the same time also, there are so many people who started as teachers, who had used connections to get their way into the mainstream of the civil service. We also need to know that so that we can know exactly the number of teachers that we need. We are going to hire teachers.
All right, one moment, sir. We've got to go on a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back. So we still have two commissioners with us, two commissioners from Ondo State, Mr. Emmanuel Igbason, Commissioner for Economic Planning and the Budget, and Mr. Femi Agagu, Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology. And they're here because we're talking about Develop Ondo 2018. It's actually a development summit that will be held this year, 2018, on Wednesday and Thursday, and the commissioners are here ahead of that and to let us know about it and what the needs are. And before we had to, be hustled off into that commercial break, you were explaining, following Mr. Adewale in Akure, following his, comment that as far as he can see, no single teacher has been employed. You were explaining that look, you really have to study it and know what's going on before you dive into studying and to hiring. You were talking about arriving in government and meeting with a huge salary bill for teachers, right?
Well, okay. The hiring of teachers is a process. You don't just wake up one day and say you will start conducting interviews. You must know the teachers that you need and where you need them. So that was the background that I've laid. And again, when this government came in, the teachers that were on ground, these teachers that are not enough, they were being owed 7 months' salary. So you must look for how to pay the arrears of salaries of those that are already in employment while you are looking at how many more you want to add. But I think we are just at the point now that we can attack the issue frontally because that 7 months arrears has been drastically reduced, and I don't think it could be more than 1 month that is left now. So we are going to hire teachers, definitely.
Okay. So, but from what we're hearing now, it's in terms of education, because the Education Trust Fund, I can now see why it really needs to be boosted. It really does need to be boosted, and but that's not to say that this state of education in Ondo is, it's at an emergency status yet.
Well, the federal government has declared a state of emergency in education. Since we are part of the federal government, we can say that
there is
we are keen to it. But even before that pronouncement, we are gotten our own plans set without calling it an emergency. Okay. Without using that word emergency. And that was why at the inception of this administration, we convoked a multi-stakeholder summit to listen to everybody. Okay. And that was how we arrived at the plans. Okay. And we are looking at all the resolutions of the summit. Okay. And we are attacking them one after the other.
Okay, maybe it might just well be that Mr. Adewale listening to this now might have a better understanding of the matter. But did I get it? There's a Sankey on the... Franklin. Oh, good morning, Franklin. Thank you very much for calling in.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to people from my state.
Okay.
Dr. Femi Agagu and the other commissioner.
Okay.
Thank you.
See, can you hear me?
You turned the man from pastor to doctor.
Okay. I am surprised for my people from Ondo State to come out here to say all this. I personally, I went to my school, which I graduated from Ondo Grammar School. The Honorable Commissioner of Education should go to that school. The school is dilapidated. For when I got there, I was shedding tears. For a school like that not to have the life that he should go to that place, Omolorogo Grammar School, where I graduated from. It was a higher study on level, one of the schools in Ondo State. The day we wanted to tell ourselves the truth, we make a tremendous progress in this country. Just ask him, let him go to that place.
But
Thank you very much.
hello, sir. Before you go, it seems to me that he and the team there understand that there is this emergency, and that's why this summit is part of addressing it.
No, let me tell you, this government has, okay, right.
This summit is.
This government has been on program in the state for about 3 years now.
Okay.
What I'm trying to say, such critical issue, education.
Okay.
Education is critical. That's what we are known for in Ondo State. If you go to that place, Mr. Premier, that if you go to that school, in a school I was told.
Tell me the name of the school again.
Ondo Grammar School.
Okay, I'm sure they recognize the school. Okay.
They don't have library. You are even trying to contribute to give them books. No place to study. And I know the situation of that school when I was there.
It was better. Are you saying it was better when you were there?
It was very, very fast, very, very better. We enjoy education, good education those days. I'm surprised. I was 70 years. Hoodlums, in terms of some part of that place where they are smoking their hemps, all of those things, they've collapsed.
All right. It's not a pretty picture. Thank you very, very much for calling in, Mr. Commissioner.
Well, thank God.
You know, people are very attached to their alma maters.
Thank God.
And so,
Thank God. When I was laying the foundation, I said those things that we observed. For us to get education to the level we want it to be.
It needs to be.
That we need infrastructure upgrade. That we need to renovate the schools. We need to provide laboratories.
And did you say that is actually ongoing? In some area, is it
No, we
ongoing?
have started renovating at primary
you did
school.
say that.
The primary schools are wearing a new look now.
Okay.
But we have not been able to address the secondary schools as much as we want. And this is part of the reason why we need to launch this Education Endowment Fund. When government, all the resources of government go into paying salaries, where are you going to get money to go and do renovation of schools? So that is why we are looking elsewhere, that the government allocation may not be able to address these things frontally. And we have also appealed to all student associations and parents teachers associations that while government is also struggling, government is paying the salaries of the teachers in these schools. While government is still battling with that, they should also join hands with government. There are many schools in Ondo State today. I can mention the Boluji Grammar School, Ileoluji, St. Catherine's Owo, even in the Owo High School, where all students have come around to improve the facilities in their schools. In fact, St. Catherine's Owo is one very outstanding example. Out of about 10 blocks in the school, the old students, they have renovated 7 of it. And in Boluji Grammar School, almost all the buildings have been renovated. So it is very clear to us as a government that we need to improve those infrastructure.
Well, there you go, education. Well, let me see what Razak wants to talk about. Razak is also calling in from Ondo State, where we lost him. There's a part, Mr. Commissioner, switching over to economic planning and budget. All these problems, issues, they also have their planning aspects as well, and finance. And since you are in charge of economic planning and budget.
Yes, thank you very much. I would say, just like my honorable colleague has said, that for us to take education to the level we want, there is need for us to conduct needs assessment. What do you actually need? What do we have? Where is the gap?
And all of that has been done.
That has been done successfully. So I will plead with our people to be patient. There is no magic in governance. It's what you have that you will spend. For example, I can roll out here the budgetary provisions from 2016 date. It is of recent. Somebody said we've been there for more than 3 years. No, we are even yet to clock 2 years. And much has been done. Out of about 1,258 primary schools, about 553 has been renovated with functional equipment, with infrastructural upgrade. Many of them that has no water. We're talking of open defecation. And most of the schools doesn't even have toilet. We need to construct new ones, modern ones, that befits a modern society like ours. But then it's a function of availability of funds.
The Commissioner for Education will probably know, but how many, in Ondo State, how many children that should be in school are in school? Because sometimes we hear of jurisdictions where far too many people that should be in school are not in school. Hopefully Ondo doesn't have that problem, or does it?
No. We don't have much of that, but I think the rate is about 92% or something like that. So
Okay.
we are
So-
comfortable in that.
So
area.
how many pupils or students are you worrying about? You know, I don't know if you've taken a census.
No, we are actually worrying about those who are in school.
Yes.
Because education is free in Ondo State.
Okay.
And people have access. We don't have problem of access.
Okay.
And those schools, as the commissioner has said, we have 1,200 plus primary schools. We have 304 secondary schools. So people have access to education in Ondo State. But we want to provide functional and qualitative education for those that are there.
Okay. Let me take it from Mr. Akinyele in Ikeja. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Honorable Commissioner. I would like to say something about the Commissioner. I really appreciate what they are doing, and God will bless them for doing that. And again, sometimes I wonder, we in this country, we expect the government to do everything for us, people not even thinking of us doing something. I schooled in Ondo Boys High School, and I graduated from Ondo Boys High School. Next year, they're going to be clocking 100 years. But some of the old school youth, my mates, we came together, putting money together to make the school. We don't need to expect, because we came out from that school. At least we should be able to give the school back what they've given to us. So not thinking about all the time the government should do this, do that. We too can do something. Thank you very much.
Well, okay, thank you very much. A sort of
Encouragement.
encouragement there. There's a long way to go.
Let me even encourage him for that. The old students, led by Chief Ruben Fashionant, came to visit the governor last week.
Old students of
Ondo Boys High School.
Okay.
On this centenary, and they raised all these contributions they have made. And the only one that is beyond the capacity of the old students is the access roads in the school. And the governor assured them that before the anniversary, that the government will handle that.
Okay, that's something will definitely be done.
To support their efforts.
Still on education, before I go back to economic planning, look, people are phoned in. My alma mater, you've let it, get dilapidated. I'm not too happy about that. That will happen. And also somebody has said that, look, whatever little widow's mite we can do, see what we can do as well. Do you have something of a timetable of when things will be noticeably different? Different meaning better, or is that too hard to say?
No, things are getting better every day. We are at work every day.
Okay.
Teachers' welfare includes training. We are putting in place a package for teachers' training and retraining. The infrastructure upgrade that I'm talking about is going on massively at the primary school level.
Okay.
We have our plans for the secondary school level. In fact, there are provisions in the budget, allocations in the budget for renovation of secondary schools. But at the end of every month, all the income of government goes to paying salary. So there are no capital releases. So until this backlog of salaries are cleared and some resources are freed for capital projects, and so we have our plans. We have looked at the entire sector. We know what is required in each school. Even in the Omolu Grammar School that my brother talked about, we know exactly what they require there. So as money comes in, we'll try and attack them one after the other. But it's difficult to say that by next year or the year after.
Or the year after, it's too difficult.
I think those governments will do as much as it's able to do.
Okay.
And the ones that are left, subsequent governments will continue.
Comrade Ayo in Oshogbo, good morning. Comrade Ayo in Oshogbo, good morning, sir. I think we've lost Comrade Ayo. Now, I want to go back to that area of comparative advantage, since I think it is the most important anyhow, because generally speaking, it tends to mean you can do this a lot better with much less effort than anybody else trying to do the same thing. You spoke about
Sorry, I was actually going to add something to what he has said, that he spoke on agriculture. But I was going to say also that, and he mentioned even our coastline. I was going to say that even in oil and gas.
That is where I'm going. But please.
It's better that.
Yes, come on that.
So that in oil and gas,
because
we also have.
Although I know everybody is diversifying, well, people around the world are thinking of diversification, but I wanted to ask about that, and I'm happy that you also want to comment.
Ondo State is an oil-producing state, and even by the reasons of our coastline, and by the reasons of our location, of all the oil-producing states, we are the closest to Lagos, and we are even the closest to the northern states. So, oil logistics activities in Ondo State is something that will sell even much more than it will sell in the core Niger Delta areas. Okay. And that was why the idea of a free trade zone had come up, and even I'm sure that it's even more than one now.
Oh, okay.
And by the time we can push that to a logical conclusion, I'm sure that the state will be better.
Let me go on another quick break for Ondo State. We'll be right back. Stay with us, please. Okay, welcome back. Something of the home stretch with Mr. Emmanuel Ibasan, Commissioner for Economic Planning and Budget, and Mr. Femi Agagu, Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, both in Ondo State, and talking to us about the Development Partners Summit coming up on Wednesday and Thursday this week. And it's all about getting partners to come into Ondo and invest. And before we continue, actually, there's a live broadcast going on as well in Abuja this morning, something about the Nigeria Air Force. When the time comes, we shall cut away from there, but we'll continue, and people will be able to hear the conclusion of the program when they listen to the repeats later on at midnight, and then I think at 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. But we're still on TVC News for now, and so we are able to continue. So, well, he was speaking about that area. Did you want to continue, or should it go over to?
Yes, I'll also take it from there, sir.
Yes.
Talking of area of comparative advantage for Ondo State, God has so endowed us and positioned us to take the lead. For example, you will know, sir, that Ondo State has the second largest deposit of bitumen in the whole world. And it is the government of
in the whole world.
In the world. Second largest bitumen deposit in the whole world, around the really Agbabu area axis. And now we brought in companies, especially one of them, Southwest, is about to commence exploration activities.
Because Ondo should be tarring the roads of the entire country.
Exactly. We spend billions of dollars to import these, what do they use for this, their road, and we have those ones lying fallow there. And the government of Arakuri have decided to exploit these God-given natural resources. No. So we have.
How about mining? Is there any mining activity?
Yes, we're about to start. That's what I said. And now for that,
what about precious? For
precious too, we have most so many things. We have one company that for who is into granite. The governor has just commissioned that. We have industrial park at Ore. About 5 laying this municipal government from Guangdong in China. They have set up paper factory. They have set up cassava to ethanol plant, and so many other industries are coming. So for us in Ondo State, what we want is integrated development approach. And we have the comparative advantage in so many fronts: oil and gas, bitumen, there's mining, solid minerals, we're there.
It's very important when you say that integrated part of it. It has to be integrated.
That is what we want to do.
Could I just bring on Kunle in Akure? Good morning. Kunle, are you there? Good morning. Kunle in Akure, good morning. I think there's please continue.
Good morning.
Kunle, so you're still coming. Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, I just want to ask the commission
land there. Can you hear me?
Kunle, please.
Yes. I think we've been social media that there's some new investment in state.
Kunle, the line wasn't good at all. But you were talking about well, you were explained how, in fact, I think you were going when you first of all started talking on this matter about deep seas, a port. A port wouldn't be a bad thing at all.
I do say that clearly that Ondo State is about the only state in Nigeria that has the deepest and natural depth that can sustain and support a deep sea port. And the governor has gotten professionals from Netherlands who have done the feasibility study, and very soon we will unveil it to the world. So it is suitable for the mining activities, all the mining activities that will go on by the federal government wants to diversify the economy and they're looking towards the solid mineral sector. We need ports for where you export and import. And Ondo State has been positioned naturally by God to fulfill this responsibility. And what we're saying is that all hands must be on deck to ensure that these natural advantages are exploited to the benefit of all Nigerians.
So you're going to have partners, you know, technical people, business people.
Everybody.
Everywhere, expertise.
The trigger effect is so enormous. The jobs, what it can add to the GDP is so enormous. The job provision is so enormous. It's capable of providing more than 1 million jobs for people. And for us, the infrastructures to cater for all these anticipated expansions has to be in place. So we have comparative advantage in so many fronts. Arable lands, we have it, and the governor has even demonstrated that, okay, at the northern zone, the northern senatorial zone, we have cash crops like cashew, we have cash crops like cocoa in the central zone, and palm oil, palm trees at the southern senatorial zone. So some lands have just been declassified now to accommodate investors, and investors are trooping in.
Because I was going to ask, when you touched on land, I was going to say, usually that's a problem for arable land or that kind of a thing. So clearly that hurdle has been removed.
Has been removed.
It has been removed, especially if people are going to come in. Because the other thing is, the cost of all of this to the people of Ondo State, I mean, they say there's no free lunch. I don't know if it is true or not. I don't know if it is true, but you as the economic guy, you probably have a better sense of that. This initiative, it seems good, but people have to remember that as you're taking advantage or taking the benefits from some things, there probably has to be some sort of, consideration, I believe the legal people talk about. In other words, there must be some payment somewhere.
That has been well thought out. One of the novel ideas we're talking about, if I get what you mean, maybe people losing their land also.
Well,
we're talking of land bank now, where communities will get together, donate their lands, and they will receive royalties for life over that land when investors take position. But even before we get there, there are some lands that government have that has been declassified to accommodate investors. And we are doing it by PPP, public-private partnership. And for me, I don't see what anybody stands to lose, except for people that should take position now. Because very soon, Ondo State will be the pride of the nation.
Apart from the food basket.
Apart from the food basket, will be the pride of the nation, and even Africa and in general. Because God has positioned us, and we have an administration that is determined to explore to the fullest the natural gift that God has given us as a state.
No doubt, people are listening. Some people have even called in, but we couldn't bring them on air simply because of technical reason or not, where sometimes a person is sounding like an echo. But please keep on trying, and if we get a clear line, we'll put you on air, because people seem to be interested. People have called in from that axis, Adewale in Akure, Kunle in Akure too, there's Akinyele, all of these people, Akinyele in Ikeja. I think he was the guy who said, suffering now, let us try, let us see what we can.
That is what I've just told our people, that how much a government can do depends on the influence that you have.
But you also said that, I think you talked about What was that technical term you used?
Okay. Let me thank you very much.
Yes. You wanted
You
the
see,
crowd to
most of the
also
people,
join in this initiative.
Most of the people that are called are talking about the problems. If there are no problems, we don't have any business. We don't have any business planning any development partner summit. We won't have any business saying that we want to relaunch the Education Endowment Fund so that we can have a bigger fund that can support education. So it's because we appreciate the problems that are there. So I'm not talking about the crowdfunding you are talking about. I told you earlier the traditional sources of fund into the Education Endowment Fund. That's percentage of contract awards, percentage of political office holders' salaries. And now we are looking at a situation whereby corporate organizations will also contribute. Public spirited individuals, philanthropists will also contribute. And we are looking at also at crowdfunding. That is, you don't have to be a billionaire to be part of it. We have a setup where everybody can contribute their widow's mite. We also, at the Executive Council meeting not too long ago, government has also approved that there will be a 1,000 naira per annum levy on taxable adults. That is voluntary contribution.
1,000
naira per year per
I don't think anybody is going to
so
complain about less than 100 naira per month.
And it's not about, it's about the future of the state. Our children are the future of our state. And if we all join hands to contribute money to ensure that they get the best of education, then we are rest assured that we'll have a future. So that is exactly why we are running around. It's because we know that government alone cannot fund education alone. And any attempt to still be doing the same thing that we were doing before, all these complaints will continue to come. But hopefully by the time we all join hands together and we're able to attack the problem headlong, within the shortest possible time, we'll have the education sector of our dream.
Somebody called in, and I think he was slightly angry, and his point was that you've been there for more than 2 years now. You're now talking grammar to us. Why don't you come and show us what you've done in 2 years? You haven't done anything, and then we had to say, wait now, suffer. But what would you say to such agitated?
I will simply tell the person and advise him to visit home.
Yes.
It's quite clear that that person has not gone on.
Who says that he hasn't seen any action
because
in the past 2 years?
like I said earlier, that Ondo State has more than 1,200 plus primary schools. Out of the meager resources that are accruable to the state, 553 plus has been renovated. And the Honorable Commissioner for Education has highlighted the plans on ground to touch all the dilapidated schools. When fish raw things, it does not rot just a day. It starts from the head, and it takes a period. And what has been devastated for several years will not take 2 years to fix. So people should learn to be patient with a government that is given to accountability, that is given to openness, that is given to integrity. It's not questionable. So we are on the right track, and the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. Okay. We are taking the right step in the right direction.
Okay.
So people should keep faith with the administration of Akeredolu.
Okay.
Will deliver.
As
definitely.
you go into this summit,
Yes.
Where is the venue of the summit on Wednesday and Thursday?
Is this traditional cultural event center popularly called Dome?
In Lagos here?
In Akure.
There's a dome in Akure.
There's a very of a high international standard.
Okay.
So I invite you to be there.
Indeed, I'm very happy. Thank you for the invitation. And you've already explained that there will be international partners at the summit. There will be local partners at the summit.
Exactly.
I'm a bit curious. You've invited me, so I'll see you on the day. But how far afield will visitors be coming from? I mean, are we talking about West Africa? Are we talking about Europe, America, what?
Yes, incidentally, most of these people you mentioned have their local offices here, and they have their country directors, and we have extended invitations to them. And one of the beautiful things for Akeredolu is to make it easy for people to come in. You know, at the inception of this administration, the first thing he did was to make sure that our cargo airport becomes functional. And now we have flights from Abuja, we have flights from Lagos on daily basis. So, and the place is booming with activities. And recently, the federal government has graciously granted an upgrade to even serve us better, serving Osun, Ekiti, and Ondo. And we are set to take our position.
Who can come to this summit? I mean, apart from the people who are invited, apart from all the official and all the agbadas that will be there, how about, since you're talking about crowdfunding, can crowd also come and listen to expertise? At that stage, you shut us out.
No, we are not doing crowdfunding there.
No, I know. But since, the crowdfunding part will come.
All we are going to do in terms of education at this summit is to inaugurate the Board of Trustees for the Education Endowment Fund.
No, you're talking about what you're going to do, sir, but I was talking about the whole event, which is not just education. This is not, well, invited guests only.
Yes.
Long story short.
It's not an all-comers event. It's invited guests. We have our special guests that we're expecting. But essentially, the industrialists, because we have three sectors that we're looking at. We're looking at infrastructure. The gap is so yawning. We have the economy, and then we have the social sector. So anyone that has anything to do to offer, when we talk of emergency, it shows that both professional and non-professional should lend a helping hand.
Okay.
So now that the federal government has declared emergency in education, so everybody should lend a helping hand.
That's a fine place to leave it as you prepare for the summit, Development Partners Summit 2018, Ondo State's Development Partners Summit 2018, that will be held in Ondo itself. I want to thank both of you gentlemen, Mr. Emmanuel Igbason and Mr. Femi Agagu. Thank you very much for coming on, and I wish you a fruitful and successful summit. So that's our program, and please join us tomorrow, as we say always, for a fresh edition. But most of you, I know, have been cut off going over to Abuja, where the Nigeria Air Force event is ongoing. But if you're listening to this at the first repeat at midnight, now you have seen the end of the program. Same thing when you're listening again at, 4 o'clock tomorrow morning. The program is now concluding. I'm Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.